G'day Flosstube, Anna here, aka Moranalis, back with another stitchy update. It's December 30th. I hope everybody had a great Christmas, Hanukkah, insert your holiday of choice. Yeah, around here it was pretty quiet, it was nice. We were home for like the first Christmas in years. So we just went to the creek to cool off because it's hot. Actually, compared to down south, we're quite cool, which is unusual, but that's the way it is at the moment. I got another couple of days off work, don't go back till after New Year's, so I thought best nick in and do a bit of an update while I get a chance. I've got a finish to show you, I got some progress to show you, and maybe a little bit of brainstorming plans. If you've been following me, you'll know I don't really make big grand plans the way some do, but I guess mostly just trying to set out what I think I can accomplish for the year. Whether or not I get there is entirely different story. Before I jump into the stitching though, I was just watching Flosstube as I was stitching, and I happened upon Coffee Stitcher, which I don't think I've ever watched his videos before, but randomly he was doing a 5 random things about me sort of segment, and I thought, well, that's kind of different and interesting. So I thought, I'm not going to do 5 because that would require too much thinking of weird and wonderful things, but I've got 3 for you. So first up, if you've watched me for a while, you should know I'm a Yank. My husband is an Aussie. We live in Oz. But my favorite way to give him grief when he needs it, and to be honest, that's on a vaguely regular basis, is to tell him that he's compromised all his principles the day he married a Yank he met at Macca's, which for you Americans is McDonald's. So yes, we met at McDonald's many years ago. The girls and I were out for 30-cent ice cream cones, and this random dude sat down next to me and made himself at home at our table. I had no idea that was my future husband, but it makes for a good story. 2, I have 3 rods, and I don't even know how many screws up my back. I light up an x-ray like a Christmas tree. I have scoliosis. I've had 2 different surgeries to embed rods to try and straighten my back out. Got a bit of hair in my eye and it's itching. Yeah, so in addition to the rods and the screws, I have a big old scar that comes around the side from where they did one of the surgeries. And it's always good to tell, people who ask if you're wearing a bikini or something where it shows, oh yeah, that's where the shark got me. Clearly, I am not one of these to let the truth get in the way of a good story. As far as I'm concerned, it's all about the story and the funny and the laughs. And 3, I am not the least bit of a sporty person, but I've been a downhill skier since before I can remember. I think my parents had me on skis at about 2 years old, so I think we're about the only family in the tropics that has a shed full of ski gear. And yeah, anytime we get the chance, we go back and visit my family or have some other excuse to head out to some place where they actually get snow, you will find my lot on the ski hills somewhere, preferably amongst the trees and other such obstacles, to make it a good, fun outing, because, what's a ski hill without a couple of jumps? So, hope you enjoyed little random facts that have nothing to do with stitching, but are just there for amusement. I think, first up, I will show you my finish. And actually, you've seen, it's Queen Sari, you've seen her finish, but I FFO'd her. So, she's a big bugger. Don't even know. See if I can bring it closer. Yep, there you go. You can see how she's got glitter. So that's silver into the gold, and down at the bottom it goes into a real dark chocolate glitter, and the bottom is chocolate. As per the others that I've done in this sort of fashion, she comes off so that she can be put in storage, magnets and washers to keep her attached. However, with Queen Sari, because of the size of the piece, she was just physically too heavy to stay with just the magnets on the board. So we've ended up putting a extra ledge there to take her vertical weight. So the magnets keep her from falling forward, but she actually sits on that baseboard. So compared to some of the other frames I did, it's quite a simple frame just with the glitter. Again, total scrap wood construction, not a dime spent on anything. It's the same brown I did the earlier piece in. The swirls are just glitter and gel medium to stick it. The good thing about gel medium with glitter is that stuff's not going anywhere. You won't have glitter spreading all through the house. So that's good and stuck down. So other than that, after I spoke with you last time, I think when I was talking with you, I had intended to go on to finish the Indian peacock, basically, hoping that I'd have that finished by the time I came back, but I didn't. If you remember, I had, there's still little marks, mango sap all the way up and down my arm, and it was an absolute nightmare to stitch. It hurt so bad. So I went back to stitching when the Q snapped, and I've got the full 1 page high all the way across the bottom of the Aura of Autumn piece. So I was pretty pleased about that. I think when I picked it up this time, I was sort of in the middle of this white light colored splash, and I finished out the rest of the length. So that's about halfway. Yeah, now that I've got that out of the Q snap, I will probably leave it out of the Q snap for a little bit, and I will do the triptych in the Q snap instead because of the confetti in that Teresa Wentzler triptych. I'm hoping the Q snap and the parking might make it a bit easier. I had one go several months ago, and it did seem to be more tolerable with all the confetti. That's really the killer with those Teresa Wentzler pieces, is confetti. So once my arm quit giving me grief and I could actually go back to stitching in hand, I pulled out, hold on, I know I brought my board. There it is. I pulled out the Pearl of the Orient seeds. That's her all up. I've really only been working on the tail. So I'll insert a before picture if I have one. I should have one of this. I probably don't, of the Aura of Autumn. But I think most of this gold and stuff in the tail is new. I got the missing Krynic that I was waiting on to do some of the fill-in up the body and through the middle of the tail. So that's all in. Just a reminder, I ended up, a lot of the inner bit of this tail was started to be done with beads, and I didn't really see the point of a big goblet of beads in the middle of her tail, so I've switched those to petite treasure braid. There is kind of these, I don't know, veins. They'd be a vein if they were in the leaf. I don't know what they're in the tail. And some of those, they did have the beads along those veins. Now those sort of structures I could see doing the beads in, but I still decided to fill that in with the same treasure braid rather than bead it on this one. So there will be a few beads here and there along those veins, but not nearly as many as were originally charted in there. Which I think it'll be fine. It still sparkles. It's still gorgeous. I just don't need gobloads of beads for the sake of gobloads of beads. This one I'm doing as a stitch along with Linda Aussie Stitcher and Shell Trails on Instagram. So I will put the hashtag down, and you can follow our progress to see how everybody's doing on their pieces. I'm pretty sure mine is by far the farthest along. So after I finish the tail, I'll go work my way back up to the head. This is a 32 count Belfast in Dark Fantasy by Color Cascade Fabrics. And I don't think I said that Aura of Autumn. It's just a even weave, a printed even weave. I don't even know the count or anything. It was inexpensive. That's essentially what it was. Because I needed so much of it for that piece, I wasn't paying a fortune. Then, after those two were out, I got out my favorite. Gotta find the top. I am working. I'm pretty sure the last time you saw it, I had that last, excuse me, I had that last set of fish done, but the rest of this mossy pond was not done. So I've done those mossy ponds, done all the stones. That's all the stones in the pattern. All the lanterns in the pattern are now done. That set of bushes is done. And so I'm back up the top to do one last set of bushes, and then the two trees on the outside. So getting towards the end of this, once I finish the trees, I'll go back and do the big gates. There's still acres of specialty stitches in there. In here there's grasses long stitched. You can see in here there's a bunch of specialty stitch stuff that goes in there. And the arches are mostly specialty stitches. So it's kind of funny, after having worked on it for so long, to see it come so close. And yet at the same time it's so far away, because I'm expecting the specialty stitches and the beading in particular to take yet another forever. So that's what I've been working on. And I expect I will basically take the chatelaine back in the house and keep working on it, because I would like to get that, at least those bushes done before I put it away. I won't get the trees done. And then maybe I'll swap over to the triptych. So as far as the plans for 2020, I have bought myself a little binder to try and keep, or a little diary to try and keep notes. Nothing as fancy as some of those planner type ones I see. It's just basically a week to a page and then random notes. So, but my plans are to basically attempt to do the Stitch from Stash again. So that doesn't entail a great deal more than trying not to buy things, which is in itself its own challenge. As far as stitching goes, I will finish the Indian Peacock. That should be a no-brainer. Yeah, should be able to get that done easy peasy. I am hoping to finish the Japanese Moss Garden. The Japanese Moss Garden will go to a professional framer at some point, maybe not the immediate 5 minutes after I finish her, but not long, I don't think, afterwards. The Peacock, I have no plans for finishing, so as long as I finish the stitching, I'm considering that done. The other piece that I want to just totally finish is the Pearl of the Orient SAL. Again, no real plans for how that will be finished. So as long as the stitching is done and the beading and stuff, I'm considering that done. It may or may not get fully finished. Beyond that, I'm less certain. I know I want to make progress on that Aura of Autumn piece. I had originally said I would do 1 page a month, and since I've started it in April, I've managed about 1 page every 2 months. And really the only reason I made it, got that much done, was because of the mango sap and the inability to stitch with my right hand. At the same time, there's just so many pages there. I don't want to start out saying I'm only going to do 4 pages this year, because I'll be at it for 6 years. And I don't really want to do that. So definitely Aura of Autumn will be in there, but I'm not making commitments as to how much. Hedging my bets. The other projects that I've got floating out there that I would like to finish the triptych, the Teresa Winslow triptych. I don't know if I will. That would be good. I have another one. I don't think you guys have ever seen it. In fact, I have no idea where it is at the moment. I should find it. I don't know the artist's name, but I'm sure some of you will have seen it and recognized it. It was a nativity scene. It was a set of 5. It was essentially 3 panels, but or maybe it was 5 panels, and the 2 panel, the center panel was actually made up of 2 separate patterns. So the center panel has, you know, the Mary, Joseph, baby Jesus with the angels up the top and the star. And that panel is done, with the exception of there's all this glittering starlight coming off that star. That is not yet done. So that center panel is the only one I have done. I have all the other patterns, but the reality is I'm not going to stitch the rest of it. The only reason I picked up and finished that center panel is because it was already so close. And at that point I had very few other kits distracting me from working on that. So I will finish that center panel. Hopefully it shouldn't take long. But then how I will fully finish it, I have no idea, and I'm definitely not doing the rest of the design that goes with it. So those charts and stuff will all have to get rehomed after I find them. There's a few other projects that are floating around from before I had kids, back in those era of stitching. One of them being a stocking for my eldest daughter. She's in year 12 this year. So if I'm ever going to finish the stocking and put her name on it, I darn well better be this year, because otherwise she's going to be out of home. Suppose I could do just, you know, her stocking in her new home when she buys one. But that's about the rate we're at. But again, that's another one I'd have to... I know I saw it a couple of months ago, but I don't know where it is right now. I'd have to go find it. I don't have any great plans for starts. I debated, you know, this whole New Year, New Start thing seems to be, a lot of people do that, and birthday starts. I guess I don't feel the need a lot of times to dedicate my starts to a specific date or anything. That Aura of Autumn I did start on my husband and our anniversary. So it's a novelty, but don't feel restricted really, like I have to, or because it's New Year's I have to start something. So I don't think I'll start anything in the next 5 minutes, and to be honest, I really have to dig through my patterns and look at them and decide which one I want to start next, because I'm not entirely sure. I don't have anything that's screaming at me that it needs to be started. So when I decide, you guys will know. Until then, we're all in suspense. So yeah, that's probably about it. 3 must finish, several others probably should finish and don't spend too much money. Wonder how badly I bomb out on this. All good. All right. Until next time, guys. Happy stitching. I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Bye.